Hey, Doug and Pat here with another episode of the Wealthy Gym Owners, and today we're going to talk about an 80-person pre-sale. Let's get to it. So, Doug, you've done pre-sales for what, three new locations in the not so recent past. Well, and you're in the middle of one now, and this one's the best one yet. All of them, I think, have been pretty successful. So, I wanted to spend time today talking about how you got to this point where this one, you're what, two-thirds of the way to where you guys want to be as a capacity for facilities almost, or something close to that. So let's go ahead and get into it and unpack what's going so well.
Yeah, so for context, this is our fourth location, but we didn't do pre-sale back in 2012 when we launched our flagship location. So I've done this three times now, and like everything, you learn from the last time. So I definitely think that is a big part of why this one has done better, and frankly, probably set the bar for future pre-sales now is we certainly have not perfected the plan, but I think we've improved the plan with this now being the third one. And so I think that's a large part of it, which we can unpack the plan for sure. The other thing that I wouldn't discredit, I was thinking about before recording, is the the clarity of our messaging and who we are going after, because the offer hasn't changed. It's been the same offer. It's been a founders membership where you get 50% off your first payment. And so the offer hasn't changed, but who we're calling out for that offer, I think we've continued to dial in more and more. And so as much as the playbook from a mechanic standpoint hasn't really changed, I think the messaging has continued to get more and more refined, which certainly has proven to be helpful.
Yeah, the pre-sale thing, we did a pre-sale for a health club in 2005, pre-sale for personal training business 2004. It's not a new concept by any stretch, but pre-sale for small group training where the price point is more of a premium price point. What's capacity going to be at this location roughly?
These locations will probably cap out somewhere between 120 and 140 clients.
Yeah, so you're already two-thirds of the way there and you've not opened the doors. The amount of confidence and comfort something like that should create. Obviously you kind of probably already have a lot of that as an entrepreneur, but for a single site owner, knowing that, man, I am well past the midpoint here and I have a pretty, direct, not necessarily easy path to getting close to capacity, that's pretty powerful. So let's talk a little bit about the playbook. Anything that you're willing to share on this that we can unpack and just kind of pull back the curtain, give guys stuff to use.
Yeah, for sure. So I definitely think, one thing we've messed with is how long we do the pre-sale for, which we still like in that 8 to 10 week window. For us, the window has varied slightly based upon how long build out takes, because essentially as soon as we acquire the property, we start pre-selling. And so if the build out takes 8 weeks, we pre-sale for 8 weeks. We've had some that have taken 12 weeks, and so we pre-saled for 12 weeks. I do think this last one was 7 or 8 weeks, just because it was a little bit shorter of a renovation, and the results were, as we spoke about, better than even a longer pre-sale, which I think begs the point of there's probably that sweet spot where I don't want to pre-sale for 2 or 3 weeks. That's probably not enough. But at the same time, I don't think there's a benefit of starting more than 3 months out. So timeline is certainly one, giving yourself a long enough runway. The other thing that I think is vital with the pre-sale is having a strong founders membership. Like we've really dialed in what being a founders member is and trying to make that kind of velvet rope around it and making them feel really special, not only calling out how we can help them and what they might have struggled with in the past, but also making them feel really painting the picture of that exclusivity that membership brings. So there's, the financial perk, of course, but there's in this model with a limited capacity, there's certainly the getting in before everybody else. And then, another big part of the offer that I wouldn't discount is the kind of love it or leave it that we fit in, and the ability to we run a 2 week period, the first 2 weeks that we open, that are just for founders, and they can opt out during that 2 week period. So it's slightly shorter than our traditional 28-day love it or leave it, but basically that allows us to close them over the phone because they're buying a service to something that doesn't yet exist. They can't. I think it does obviously help now that we have multiple locations open. They can refer to the other locations. They can see social proof from the other locations, et cetera. But we're selling these folks over the phone, and the 2 week opt out period, I know for sure, is a big kind of lever that we can lean on to get people to commit before we're even open.
Yeah, I'm such a fan of the love it or leave it stuff. I think that, if you're providing the type of service and experience that most of the people that we surround ourselves with want to provide, you're pretty confident that the vast majority of people are going to love it. And if a few people here or there decide it's not for them, that's okay. I'd rather have people saying yes, 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 no than the opposite, right? And um, I think about this kind of pre-sale concept that I don't want somebody to think that this playbook is exclusive to you, to this market, to this avatar, because essentially, our boardroom member and business partner with, Athletes Acceleration, the franchise, in their most recent opening, 3 months, they're at 20K in recurring revenue in a sports performance business. And the fundamentals are different. I mean, are the same. The messaging is different, right? It's a different audience, but the fundamentals are the same. And 20K in a sports performance business 3 months in's pretty awesome. I mean, because we're again talking in both of these cases, small footprint. We're not talking large group training. I mean, I'm sure people have heard of these multi-hundred person pre-sales for the Orange Theories or whatever else. Well, I mean, they can get there and still not even be at break even. We're talking about premium price services. Being able to do this, I think, is just a game changer. So with the the pre-sales you've run, and obviously the most recent one being the most successful, what kind of mix of channels have you employed to get leads kind of into the pipeline?
Yeah, so certainly leveraging paid advertising is I wouldn't say that is not number one, right? Like it's definitely number one, and we definitely put a hefty budget towards it. It's still proving to be the most effective, especially during pre-sale especially to build the list. We run the founders membership as a sweepstakes play. So basically they join the founders wait list, and as part of joining the wait list, they get entered to win. We give away 1 3-month membership. And one of I think our maybe it's not a secret sauce, but one of our angles I think that we're very good at is we don't wait until I think a lot of people build a wait list and then they wait until the sweepstakes is the winner's drawn or whatever. But as soon as somebody inquires and is on the wait list, we're trying to book a call and sell them. So we can talk about the sales process as well. But as far as channels, I would say 70 to 80% of our leads come from paid advertising. So that would include Meta, but we've also ramped up Google ads. So we put a healthy budget towards our Google ads, Meta ads, and direct mail. So direct mail campaign, postcard drops into the neighborhoods. Those I would say would be the top three from a paid advertising standpoint. Other things that we do, we print 5,000 postcards physical postcards, basically the same postcards that we're mailing out in direct mail, and we do business drops. So we make mini gift baskets with the postcards that have, a call to action towards the founders membership, stack it up with some goodies and drop it off to as many of the local businesses in that market as we can. And then electronically, we're obviously sending out emails, text messages, voicemail drops, all the electronic communications we can to our existing list. And then certainly making sure things like the website and Google are up to date, small things that really, when you reflect back, have a high percentage of the clicks coming from them is things like a banner across the top of our website. That way, everybody that's visiting our website, whether they're interested in that location or not, knows that we're opening up in that location. So those would probably be the top channels.
I think what I love about this, and this is maybe because I'm a little bit older, is like there's so many things that are essentially variations of plays that have worked for years in this industry, whether it's a sweepstakes type play that bears a lot of resemblance to lead boxes, and we do a lot of that with fish bowls and everything else in our coaching. Direct mail was prevalent when I got into the industry. I mean, we were doing voice broadcasts a long time ago, but so you've taken these kind of timeless mechanisms, done a way better job with messaging, calling out the ideal client, tightened up all the pieces to make them more and more effective, and then layered them onto one another. And so, I mean, if you want to talk about what we see work in today's market, that's probably kind of a microcosm of it. It's like, building on things that have been really fundamentally sound, but then updating them and refining them to fit what's required to win in this landscape.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I think all of that is certainly the gets you to the first step, which is, building that wait list. We try to generate between 800 and 1,200 leads during pre-sale. And I think the really what kind of is the separator here is the process after that. So the playbook of generating the leads, we haven't really changed. Like I said, yes, the messaging has been refined, but like you said, the methods, the platforms, those have been around. And even in our 3 pre-sales, we maybe a little bit more in direct mail, but other than that, we haven't really changed any of the platforms. It's just been refining the messaging. That being said, I think something that we're continuing to get better and better at is the follow-up and getting people from that wait list onto a phone call and selling, which we never used to sell over the phone. We always used to sell in the studios, and our close rate over the phone now is higher than it is in studios, which is pretty crazy. And just as many know, selling over the phone has its own challenges, and so learning what that is and perfecting our scripts and perfecting our process there. I think having a dedicated person, we have a full-time person that all they do is lead follow-up during the launch, 40 plus hours a week of lead follow-up. So it's pretty intense, but obviously effective.
So with your offer, I mean, you guys use, a pretty strong incentivized founders offer. Outside of half off the first month, what are a couple other kind of components of that you feel like have made it as strong as it's been?
Yeah. So, I think what's been interesting, not just with our pre-sales, but, you mentioned Graham's pre-sales and others that are in our program that have pre-sold. I think the price that the financial incentive is really the smallest part of it. I mean, we've done everything from 20% off. You're gonna be a founding member, you get 20% off, you get half off your first month, you get $100 off your first month. There's the financial incentive, I think, is essentially the result has not been any different based upon just because it's a bigger discount or something like that doesn't make it more effective. And that was looking back in some of our mistakes we made. That was one of the mistakes we made with our first one is we did 20% off, and we didn't really price the anchor high enough. So our average revenue per client is still lower than what our target should be because of the founding members paying 20% less. So I think certainly having a small financial incentive of being a founding member is very important, but I think that's probably maybe an overemphasized. It doesn't need to be as emphasized as I think a lot of people spend time on. The other one I would say is picking a number, and whether that's 50, whether that's 75, whether that's 100, using that number and holding true to it. Like, to be clear, our number used to be 50, now it's 75. I think so much of that comes back to how many are we're opening this location as of this recording on Monday, and there's going to be 80 people walking in on day one. Now, we have the staffing during that first week to kind of staff up and support that, double coach sessions and bring coaches from other locations for the first week or so to support. But obviously, you want to fulfill your promise. And so I think using the number as a marketing message and talk about scripts in our phone calls, like, we are very, I would say, clear / direct that, hey, there are 19 spots left. We've already got X number of founders memberships sold. Or, hey, you mentioned you were interested in coming at, around 6:30. I've already met with 15 founding members that are going to be coming around that time. I just want to make sure that you have your times protected. And so using that for people that are on the fence really helps the conversion process. So picking a certain amount of founding memberships that you are going to offer and actually holding true to that. And then having that kind of VIP period, for us, it's 2 weeks. I don't know if there's any magic to the 2 weeks. That just operationally works for us, where they can come in and, we try to obviously over deliver and make sure that they have a great first couple sessions, because that's where they're going to be making their first impressions. And so making that not only feel exclusive and valuable to them, but also using it as a risk reversal for them to be able to opt out during that period. I would say the other thing that is powerful that we try really hard to do in our scripts is to have some version of that point of sale referral, where they are not necessarily, because it's a phone call, we're not handing them anything, but letting them know, like, hey, if you have a friend that you would want to join you, let them know about this, because we only have, kind of tying it all together, we only have X number of spots left. So if your friend is interested in joining, make sure they get a call booked this week. So those would be the powerful things, but we're really trying to drive all of those leads. We're trying to drive to phone calls, and, we have targets each week for a number of phone calls we want to hit, and we know now our close rate. And so you can kind of reverse engineer targets from there, but those would be the key things.
And hopefully the people watching this, or if they're listening, understand that, man, I mean, what you just unpacked is probably exceeds what some people are charging like $5,000 for like a pre-sale consult. So, I mean, this was gold. I mean, everything from the marketing mix to generate leads, to how you're closing leads, how you're incentivizing people. Yeah, this has been really, really good. So I hope people don't take it lightly, because you're sharing this stuff very generously. But man, I think this was awesome. I'm glad to listen to you unpack it. I get to be around for the whole journey of you, from picking a spot all the way through. So it's fun to see all these things work out well. So that's Doug and Pat with another episode of the Wealthy Gym Owners.